Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fields here at Southern Virginia University for your men's soccer matchup between the Mary Washington Eagles and your Southern Virginia Knights. You join us about 3 minutes into the game, and both teams have already had a couple of opportunities. Mary Washington getting one just now. Ball comes off the crossbar. These teams picking up in conference play. Southern Virginia coming off a big win against Wesley, 6-3 win in their last attempt. And we'll go ahead and pick it up from there. I'm joined today by Jackson Hatch, and we are about 3 minutes into the game here.
Looks like we've got maybe an injury. Matt Deedy is down on the ground.
Looks like he may have taken a hit to the head. He seems to be putting his hand on his head a little bit. Those can kind of take a ringer. Looks like we'll have Chad Mahaffey, the athletic trainer, come onto the field and assess him. Matt Deedy, definitely one of the anchors for the back line in the defense for the Knights. So while he does have to step off for a little bit, that will be an unfortunate loss for the Knights until he's allowed to re-enter the game.
It's good to see him be able to get up and get off the field on his own power. Colin Flynn will resume play from the free kick.
Should be mentioned as well, the Eagles of Mary Washington so far 9-2-1 on the season. They've had a pretty good win streak here. They have about five wins in their last 5 games. They did have a loss prior to that against Dickinson, but they've been on a pretty good momentum streak here for a little while. Couple of common opponents between these teams, as they are both in the Capital Athletic Conference. Mary Washington 4-0 in conference play so far, and the Knights just picking up their first win against Wesley last Saturday in a 6-3 thriller. A lot of goals in that one. A little bit uncharacteristic for the Knights to just put that many in. Mary Washington as well, not too many goals per game, usually averaging about 2 per game, so maybe a fairly low-scoring game, but that's not to say both teams don't have a pretty good attack, so we'll see how it turns out here as we are about 4.5 minutes in. Looks like the Knights will have a substitution. It's like number 6, Christian Rice, enters the field, coming on for Jackson Lindow. And also Matt Deedy has re-entered the game. Merritt Weeks plays it over to Christian Rice. Looking upfield into the corner. Headed back to the goalkeeper.
The Knights have struggled so far bringing the ball out. That's one thing that we could see from Christian Rice, is his ability to attack and to move forward and get involved in the play.
He is very good on the ball and also a lot faster than I think some wings will give him credit for. So that could really benefit the Knights to have a pretty quick outside wing back, be able to bring the ball upfield. Mary Washington just trying to control the ball about the 18. Looks like they're getting a shot there. Knights able to step in front of that one. Able to step in front there and get possession back. Knights continue to maintain possession and bring the ball way upfield into their own attacking third.
Feels like the Knights are off to a little bit of a slow start, not playing with the same pace and intensity that we saw against Wesley. It's like a little bit of a tactical change, and the Knights are kind of settling back into their possession, their play of possession that they're more accustomed to.
The Knights running the corner play we did see a couple of times against Wesley. Looks like Mary Washington electing to just kind of zone in the 6-yard box, allow the play to come to them. Ball comes in, goes to the far post. No Knights in the area. Is just headed on by Mary Washington, and now the Knights will have a throw-in. Long throw into the box, headed away again. Tried to play it down into the corner. Mary Washington able to step in front of that one. And they come out with possession.
Second offsides call against Marion Washington.
Matt Deedy on the ball for the Knights. Passes over to Christian Rice. Ball goes out for a Knights throw-in. Great flick on there to Greg Allen. Greg Allen, one of the leading goal scorers for the Knights, has a couple on the season. Definitely be a dangerous person to watch in the attacking third. So the Knights earn another corner kick here. Long kick in, goes a little bit outside to the 18, headed into the box. Goalkeeper will come out with that one. Matt Spencer in goal for Mary Washington tonight, a senior from Stafford, Virginia. A lot of experience there.
You see that speed from Christian Rice that you had talked about, being able to get back on defense there after having been beat a little bit.
Really nice to have an outside back that can get back that quickly and help out. So Mary Washington will have a throw in. Number their own.
Those long throw-ins can be so dangerous. It's almost like another corner.
Pretty much is, especially with any amount of height in the box. And Mary Washington not short of height. They have quite a few pretty tall players in there. Looks like they are electing to heavily stack the goal line here. You can see about 5 or 6 players right on the goalie, Colin Flynn. Short kick in. The Knights first to get a touch on it. Now Matt Deedy trying to clear it away. Merritt Weeks able to poke it forward. Will roll out for another Eagles throw-in. Long throw to switch fields. Back over to Foley on the ball, who lofts that one into the center. Falls to one of the Eagles on the far side. Trying to get a shot, takes it. Colin Flynn able to parry that one away.
Cut off. A great save by Colin Flynn.
Looks like electing to stack the box heavily again. May see a short driven.
Eagles again with possession in the attacking third. Nice through ball into the box. The Knights do a nice job to recover.
Colin Flynn able to get his hands on that one again. So nice to have a senior goalkeeper like Colin Flynn, so experienced and really a leader for the Knights in the back line. Long kick downfield. Knights try to bring it into the center here. Long kick into the corner. Might have an opportunity for a cross here. Unable to get off the cross that he wanted on that one. Falls behind the posts. Will be a goal kick for the Eagles.
Goal kick elected to be taken short. Marion Washington looked to maintain the possession.
It's interesting. You can see the spacing by Mary Washington. A lot of their players are pretty spread out. It does seem to be their style to be able to find some longer passes. The Knights, I think, try to go for a couple short passes and then maybe a long pass after 3 or 4.
It's very different. Usually we see the typical short, long, as most soccer coaches will call it.
Mm-hmm.
Marion Washington definitely playing a little bit more spread out.
Much more. A lot of their passes about 10 yards or more. They do maintain some pretty good spacing, though.
With that, they've been able to keep some good possession. Be a throw in for the Eagles. Looks like that'll be out for a corner.
Already 5 corners in this game, only 14 minutes in. Definitely a little bit irregular. Both teams really trying to take advantage of it, though.
Number 15, Justin Carey, on the ball for the Eagles.
Mary Washington again electing to put 5 players on the goal line. See the corner come in now. A lot of players jumping for it, bouncing around. Like Ben Knapmeyer able to clear that one out.
It's a little bit weird to me that they crowd the goal line and then they don't keep somebody in front of the goalie, which generally is what you see happen to kind of disrupt him and make it a little bit harder for him to come out and punch those balls out of the air like Colin's been doing so far on their corners.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of usually putting a player on either side of the goalies, just to interfere, make it a little bit difficult, the vision harder. Eagles look like an opportunity here. Tough shot there by the Eagles, sails well over the crossbar. Looked like he might have been able to take a little power off that one and maybe just redirect it. Might have had a better opportunity there. Greg Allen putting the pressure on the Eagles here as they bring the ball back downfield. Dede comes out with the ball for the Knights. Able to lay it off to Nathan Allen, who looks down into the corner. Eagles able to pick that pass off. You can see some pretty good spacing by the back line of the Eagles, though. Once they do get the ball, you can see them spread out a whole bunch so that the passes really open up the field. Pretty disciplined back line for the Eagles. Ball's played into the corner, into the goal. I think the Knights caught off guard just a little bit there. Seemed like they weren't quite back yet. Ball played down into the corner, and then a cross in.
Yeah, I think everybody was kind of waiting for the forward to take a touch, and instead he just took a shot right on his first touch and caught everybody off guard.
Yeah, what a brilliant cross to just lay down and poke that one in, then just first time right into the back of the net. Looked like some of the Knights defenders thinking he was going to take some time. On some of the previous ones, they had taken an extra touch, dribbled into the box, tried to get a better shot. That time, just taking the shot at hand and ends up in the back of the net. Mary Washington leads the Southern Virginia Knights 1-0. 30 minutes left in the first half. Mary Washington keeping the pressure on. You can see the back line about the 30 or behind, 30-yard line or behind, and then you can see all the attackers basically up with the back line for the Knights. See another cross come in here. Colin Flynn able to deflect that one away, bouncing around in the box. Nice clear that away momentarily. Mary Washington keeping the pressure on early here.
That was a great turn to put the Eagles into position. Scary moment for the Knights avoided.
They will have an offsides against Mary Washington. Long kick downfield by Colin Flynn. Over to Nathan Allen, bringing the ball downfield. Looking in the center. Will be fouled, and the Knights get a free kick about 35 yards out, in the middle of the field. Interesting to see what they do with this one. It could be a shot, but you'd have to really power it in. The loft is also pretty tough.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those awkward spots where you're not really sure what to do with it. It's a little bit more straight on than you'd like for a ball in the air like that. Fortunately, it just goes a little bit long from the Knights.
I think Greg Allen looked like he was trying to just loft it towards the far post. Not really anybody in the area. Just a little bit harder than he would have liked. Knights make a substitution onto the field. Ball kicked out by the Eagles will be a throw in. Knights elect to take it quickly, and ball's headed around a little bit. Will roll out for an Eagles throw in. They in turn take it quickly. Thrown downfield in a foot race with Didi. Didi able to poke that one away, come out with it, tries to clear it out. Will give a throw in to the Eagles. Eagles doing a good job keeping their spacing there, trying to just find the next pass. Ball comes into the box. Eagles still with possession. Not sure if they were trying to get a shot or a cross there. Took a deflection off one of the Knights and then one of the Eagles, and it will be a goal kick.
It's like Matt Didi again in a little bit of pain. Been playing through an injury for a couple of games now.
It is so hard at this point in the season, especially because you're just playing, you know, a couple games a week and hard to really get the rest that you want. So he has been nursing an injury for a little while, but he has continued. He's a pretty tough player, has continued to play on.
And as a player, as an athlete, it's so much harder to sit out when it's a conference game and it's really on the line and something that matters.
Absolutely, especially against a good team like Mary Washington. You really, those are the games you live for and you want to play. So we'll have a foul against the Eagles here. Free kick for the Knights. Greg Allen on the ball here. Long curler towards the back post. Mary Washington gets the first touch. Knapmeyer comes in, tries to head it down. Flicked on towards Merritt Weeks, but in the end, Matt Spencer able to just scoop that one up. Long kick downfield. The Eagles bring their own counterattack. Might have been trying to find a through pass there. Ball just falls into the hands of Colin Flynn.
The Eagles again retaining possession just on that back line.
I think with the spacing that they have, you can see the back line just basically holds the ball until they find a long ball over the top to try to just find someone through. And then they just get the ball there and then poke it around in the box. Another cross comes in. Didi able to get ahead on that. Falls to the ground. Mary Washington still with the ball. Diamond comes out for it. Takes a couple deflections and ends up in the hands of Colin Flynn. That's a pretty lucky series of deflections there. Usually those don't end up in the goalie's hands.
Yeah, those deflections can be so scary. As we learned last night with the United States, Panama had a goal, well, a controversial goal that probably shouldn't have counted, but came off of a deflection like that.
A couple interesting things in international soccer last night as well. The ball boy for Panama, I think one of the best players on their team as well. Interesting decision there, but yeah, definitely, as we saw, the ball bouncing around in the box can be really tough, so the Knights able to get away with that one there and now bring up a counter of their own. Eagles bring the ball out, definitely favoring this near sideline. Play it up to the point now. Jeremy Hokinson bringing the ball into the corner, looking for a cross. Unable to really connect on that one. A lot of pressure from the Knights back line, and now they clear that one out. Eagles will have a throw in.
Seems like ever since that first goal, the Eagles have been a lot more confident in pushing forward and throwing everybody into the attack.
Yeah, I don't think we saw quite as much pressure until they did go 1-0 up. Another long throw into the middle of the box. Didi the first to get ahead on it. Still in the box, though. Eagles will get a shot that is a little bit missed, and then he makes up for it on his second attempt and puts it on the far post.
Just an unfortunate series of events for the Knights.
Number 10, Keanu Korkor on that one.
He looked like he just whiffed completely that first shot. Fortunately for him, the Knights weren't able to clear it away.
Yeah, I think the Knights were definitely expecting some contact on the first hit as well, so they anticipated that. Korkor, I believe, not trying to miss on that one, but the ball just stayed right with him, and he gets his first goal of the season. Now the Eagles take a 2-0 lead over the Southern Virginia Knights. Eagles again with possession, bring the ball downfield, play it down into the corner. Colin Flynn comes well off his line for that one. Makes a comfortable save, though.
Good job by Colin being ready for that through ball. He's in a dangerous spot for the Eagles.
Knights almost able to get their own through ball there. Christian Rice in another battle with Idrissa Bari. That's been the matchup to watch so far. I think those two have been really going at it on the sideline here.
Yeah, good job by Christian staying physical and maintain possession for the Knights.
And you see a few players down on the end line for Mary Washington starting to warm up. I'm sure we'll see a few substitutions here. About 21 minutes left in the first half. Mary Washington with a 2-0 lead. May elect to bring some fresh legs on. Greg Allen with a good turn there. Finds Knapmeyer bringing the ball upfield. Let a chip over the top. Looks like he's trying to find Tyson Ricks in the middle, and Matt Spencer able to come out for that one again. There's that long passing game by the Eagles, able to find about a 25-yard pass upfield.
You'd like to see the Knights maybe push up just a little bit, make those passing lanes a little bit tougher.
Yeah, you have seen quite a few players in the defensive third for the Knights. Looks like we'll see quite a few attackers in the defensive third for the Knights as Mary Washington, again with about 5 players on the line. I'm sure we'll see the same play we've seen before, just run off the line and then ball played pretty close to the goal, about 6 yards out, and then someone just tries to flick it on. It's like Justin Carey out for the corner kick. Low driven ball. That's almost exactly what we've seen there, trying to just flick it towards the near post. Christian Rice able to keep the pressure on that one. They push the shot just a little bit wide of the post. Long kick downfield. The Knights the first to head that one on. Now the Eagles with their pressure of their own. Able to get a shot on goal, and it sails just wide of the post. Barry again bringing the ball downfield for the Eagles. Not able to place that shot where he wanted to, but had plenty of space.
Good job by Barry of creating his own space and being able to get a shot off.
Interesting on that one. I thought he was for sure going to just go into the center and then pick a side, but electing to bring the ball down into the corner, maybe that winger mentality. going against him just a little bit there. Striker's bringing that one into the middle to open up some lanes. Berry, just a sophomore from Woodbridge, Virginia.
Another throw in for the Eagles. Just thrown back. And they switch fields again.
Now another long pass downfield into the corner.
Seeing almost kind of a disconnect in the center midfield with the defense. Seems like the ball just going right out to the wings or up to the forwards.
I would say in the middle, the Knights by and large have owned the middle of the field, but Mary Washington has definitely taken advantage of the edges and the attacking third. So the Knights really trying to control through the middle. You see quite a few of their players work the ball into the middle here, as we just saw. Greg Allen trying to turn it in, but once Mary Washington gets possession, you can see him roll it out to the sides and then able to connect with the front line, usually via the wings or just a long pass over the top. Long kick downfield. Dede the first to get ahead on that. Greg Allen plays it out to Christian Rice. Christian Rice looking for a switch across the field. Now Knapmeyer bringing the ball up. Until Knapmeyer in particular really trying to find that ball into the corner, and he's so close, just one pass away. Just maybe makes it a little bit too predictable.
Yeah, those through balls have been so tough already. This Eagles defense is very disciplined, and that shows with only 9 goals having been scored on them all season.
That is very impressive in 13 games or 12 games. Really a back line that does not get scored on very often. And then the 4-0 in conference as well speaks for itself. 9 wins. That's a back line that works well together. You can see they are quite a good unit. You can see the big disconnect in between the defense and the attackers as the ball's floated in towards the goal. Looked like he was originally trying for a cross there, and it just kept floating towards the back post. Colin Flynn able to push that one up over the crossbar, and the Eagles will have a corner kick. It's almost one of those miracle crosses into the side netting there.
Sometimes as you send those balls in, they just kind of find their way to the back of the net. Luckily for the Knights, Colin was well prepared and able to tip that one over the bar.
Tommy Mead crosses the ball in towards the far post. The Eagles the first and second to get ahead on it, but headed over the crossbar. Knights need to do just a little bit better defending on that one. It's difficult because even though you can tell exactly what Mary Washington is going to do, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy to defend.
Yeah, and that ball that time was played a little bit longer to the opposite side of the field and headed back across, almost catching the Knights off guard. Good job staying disciplined.
Eagles bringing the ball down again. Another shot on goal. Colin Flynn parries that one away. Just wide of the post. Eagles will have another corner.
Like a substitution for the Eagles. 3 players come on, and 3 go off.
Looks like we'll have Jacob Lovinger enter the field along with Jack Saslowski. Ball played in towards the far post. A couple of players in the area. The Eagles trying to head it on still. Shot goes well over. Colin Flynn with another goal kick for the Knights.
The Eagles able to get the first head on that one. Nice play back to Colin Flynn. Clears it out.
And Merritt Weeks called for the foul on that one. Eagles will have a free kick about 50 yards out. As usual, really bringing quite a few players up for this one. You can see them in two bunches on either side of the D, and now they cross over. Lofted ball into the middle. A lot of players in the area. Flicked on to Colin Flynn, and he's not able to push that one out, and Mary Washington will have their third goal of the game and their third of this half.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Colin Flynn. That header came from point blank. It's good reaction time to get up, to get his hands up. Unfortunately, just not able to keep it out.
Yeah, that one's so tough to mark on. You can see all the players from Mary Washington, about 8 of them in there. See them just cross over each other, and it's so difficult to try to man mark on that one because the person you're marking just, 10 yards away, but has run through about 8 different players on your team and their team. So the Knights definitely had a tough time on that one. Just so many bodies in the area, and Mary Washington having the advantage because all they have to do is just flick it on, and then, as you saw, even if it's flicked at the goalie, almost no time to react essentially, and so the ball does fall into the back of the net there. Looks like a pretty well drawn up play. Jason Kilby, the head coach for Mary Washington in his 7th season, definitely has some experience with drawing up some plays. The ball crossed over the end line there, and it'll be another goal kick for Colin Flynn.
You can see that this is a very disciplined team with all of their set pieces having some kind of play drawn up for them.
That does really speak to the character of the Mary Washington team. A lot of times if you get 6 or 7 corners in one half, as Mary Washington has, sometimes you can see a couple of plays run on 1 or 2 of them, and then, a few more. But so far, almost every time we've seen the consistent called play, as you mentioned. And so far, Mary Washington taking advantage of their opportunities almost every time, coming out with a shot at least.
Good deflection for the Knights. Ball played into the middle. Fortunately, unable to keep possession.
Now you can see the Eagles again trying to just play the ball in their defense until something opens up downfield. Now taking their shot downfield. Knights able to deflect that one away. I think Nathan Allen trying to keep possession there for the Knights.
Nathan Allen has done a great job today when the Knights are under pressure and kind of having those moments of just constant pounding from the Eagles. He's done a good job of keeping the ball up in the attack and giving that defense a little break.
Looks like the Eagles have been awarded a free kick. See a whole lot of players in the area here. Eagles only keeping 2 players back. That's a little surprising given the 3-0 lead. Looks like we'll have a third one trickle into the backfield here. Quite a few players up. Looks like they're drawing up the same play with the just crossover. The Knights electing to just zone that one as the ball comes lofted in. Falls to the ground. The Eagles get another shot on it. And it sails wide of the goalpost. Looks like it will be a corner for the Eagles. Difficult to say who got the last touch on it. Has been awarded for a corner kick, though.
Another scary moment from one of those free kicks. Ball played in to the far post, headed back into the center. A shot on target right to Colin Flynn, who's able to pick that one up pretty easily. Throws it out short.
But the Knights still struggling to really clear that ball out of the box. Matthew Jones keeping the pressure on that one, but unable to clear. We'll have more substitutions enter the field. Aaron Terrazas back on for the Knights here. Junior from Horn Lake, Mississippi. Eagles really keeping the pressure on here. The Knights just trying to clear it out. So far unable to do so. Another crossover to the far post. I believe the player was in an offside position there. Looked like Joe Hatcher, freshman from Springfield, Virginia. Offsides on that one. Hatcher making up for that, though, by getting the head on the ball first.
The Eagles again picking up the ball in a dangerous position. Looks like a foul's going to be called. A very dangerous spot for the Eagles.
This is almost a best case scenario. It's better than a corner kick because now you can just put it right on frame if you want to. And if not, still quite a few players in the area. They're definitely not afraid to bring some pressure forward. You can see about 6 players in the box. They have done quite well on some of these set pieces beforehand. See about 6 in the box, 2 just outside. If they elect to go on the shot, the far post as well available. Ball comes in, curler towards the middle. Still falls on the ground. Diamond able to kick that out for the Knights. Now the ball comes back in for Mary Washington. Knights able to push up on that one and allow the Eagles to be offsides. Look like Nick Jackson, the penalized one there. Knights trying to settle it down and create a little possession of their own to try to take away some of the pressure that they've been feeling. Now Mary Washington right back into their style. You can see those 5 players in the back line. Just find that long pass downfield. A little bit too long on that one. May go all the way to the end line. Colin Flynn clears that one back downfield. Trying to find Merritt Weeks. Now Mary Washington, in turn, returning the favor, about a 30, 40-yard ball downfield. We will have a free kick given to the Knights.
I believe that one's going to be called on number 23, Nick Jackson. Matt Dede likes to play that one quickly. Gets the ball back. Able to play it into the midfield. Knights unable to maintain possession.
Now a free kick will be awarded. Merritt Weeks. A little bit too much on that one.
It's not the place you want to give away a foul like that. Kind of got him pushed back in there and basically just gives them a free clearance.
Yeah, it takes all the pressure off of your own attack, and we definitely know Mary Washington. Long kick downfield is almost to be expected, and then quite a few players up. Almost turns around and puts the pressure right back on yourself. Knights able to come away with the ball here, though. Trying to find a couple more passes. Merritt Weeks bringing the ball downfield for the Knights. Good to see one of their leading goal scorers still heavily involved. 6 goals on the season for him. Now Mary Washington in turn sprinting upfield with about 4 players. Ball's played all the way back to Matt Spencer in goal. A lot of time. Eagles still passing the ball around. Pass that one out of bounds. The Knights will have a throw in. About just under 4 minutes left in the half. Like Nathan Allen trying to find his brother Greg in the middle. Eagles come away with possession on that one.
A nice through ball down the sideline for the Eagles. Even better defense by the Knights, and a free kick will be awarded.
Looked like a little bit too much playing on the ground on that one.
Stay on your feet a little bit better. Colin Flynn trying to find that ball into the midfield. It's lost again, and the Eagles in turn lose the ball. Ball's kicked out of play for an Eagles throw-in. Taken quickly. Eagles retain possession in the middle of the field.
Looks like the Eagles have been given a free kick here. May have been for some contact off the ball. Sean Diamond being addressed by the referee.
Another dangerous spot for the Eagles.
Yeah, this one, you're almost guaranteed a shot on this one. Really pretty tough to try to loft this one towards the far post, as it's only about 25 yards out. 4 players on the ball for the Eagles discussing what's about to happen, but it looks like they do have something drawn up. I may see the ball kicked towards number 11, Jacob Lovinger, and then a shot on frame. That is what we see, and the shot goes just over the crossbar. Another designated set piece by the Eagles.
That's interesting. I've never seen 2 touches on the ball before the shot.
Yeah, I've seen that on an indirect kick before where contact is necessary, but on a direct free kick, I just take the shot on that one. I can see the displacement trying to get around the wall, but having put someone on the end of the wall, might as well just shoot that one.
Yeah, the ball came almost right back to the same spot of where it was originally.
Allows the Knights wall to move forward a lot, but didn't really help them out too much. That one somewhat close to being a pass towards the keeper, but not quite. More of a deflection. Eagles trying to get one last chance as we enter the last 10 seconds of the half. I don't think they'll get that chance now. The Knights getting a free kick. May elect just to take the last few seconds off the clock, and they will do so. And that'll bring us into halftime with the Mary Washington Eagles with a 3-0 lead. A lot of interesting things so far. I think a lot of free kicks, a lot of set pieces by Mary Washington, really been able to get the advantage over the Knights. So what can we expect in the second half here, Jackson?
Well, I think that the Knights need to maybe throw a couple more players into the attack. So far, what we have seen from the Knights is that they were able to maintain possession in the middle. Hopefully look to see a little bit more pressure there through the middle, maintaining a little bit more possession rather than trying to force those through balls, as we've seen that back line for the Eagles is very disciplined. We haven't been able to break that with a through ball yet. Hopefully we can push some more players forward and just kind of maintain that possession.
Yeah, absolutely. That seems to be the strategy in this pretty fast-paced game. We'll go ahead and step away for a minute with Eagles of Mary Washington having a 3-0 lead over your Southern Virginia Knights. Join us again in about 14 minutes for the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the fields here at Southern Virginia University for the second half of this soccer matchup between the Southern Virginia Knights and the Eagles of Mary Washington. The Eagles took a 3-0 lead into halftime. Now, if you're Coach Bohr and you're the Knights, what's the halftime speech here, Jackson?
Well, down 3-0, kind of a rough first half. It's time to start throwing some guys forward. You don't really have a lot to lose. Maybe change up formations a little bit. Make sure your young guys stay motivated. As a young guy coming in, it's really easy to go down 3-0 and just kind of lose your head and basically give up. So it's important to keep your players motivated and try and get a few goals back here.
Absolutely, I think you're right. I really think it's the momentum, it's the mental game, because I think we didn't see quite as much of the passion and the flair as we did from the Knight squad in the first half. Didn't really, a lot of these talented players like to pull a move now and then. We didn't see any of that. We just saw the ball kind of bouncing around a lot. And saw the Eagles didn't necessarily have a ton of possession, but they did control a fair amount of the game. They're getting a shot in there attacking third pretty early. Knights try to clear it out. Managed to do so, but the Eagles do maintain the possession. Cross the ball in towards the back post. A couple of Eagles in the area. Colin Flynn able to come down with that one. But I think you're right, Jackson. I think it just comes down to keeping your players in the game. Obviously, some tactical changes to be made. A couple players need to correct some things. The Knights didn't do a brilliant job of maintaining the possession, which has been their style of play and is, what typically results in a few goals for them. But as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Mary Washington, not a team that gets scored on very often, have not allowed many goals this season. Back line for them really solid, as are the strikers as they continue to put pressure on the Knights. So I think it's just keeping everybody engaged, keeping the momentum up. I'm sure we'll see plenty of substitutions here as well. Looks like we'll have an early corner for Mary Washington.
Yeah, we haven't really found the stride that's going to break down this back line from the Eagles yet.
What we have seen, though, is this exact corner play about 8 times so far. Ball crossed in. Knights able to clear that one out in a dangerous position and made it all the way to the back post. Would have just taken a flick on and that would have been in. Knights able to get the first touch on that. Chested down. And then another shot on goal by the Eagles. Colin Flynn able to come up with that one.
Another thing I'm doing if I'm Coach Bohr is trying to figure out what is going to work against this back line for the Eagles. Whether that's keeping the ball out wide and bringing it in, or mainly attacking through the middle. So far the through balls haven't done too much yet.
I think that's right. I think a tactical change as well. Number 19, Edwin Hernandez, has entered the game for the Knights. I think he's a player that really ups the possession time. He's very good on the ball. He's a very good tactical player as well. I think that may be Coach Bohr trying to obviously up the possession for the Knights, and then in turn I think you may see some through balls, some split runs from some of the other strikers. As you mentioned, the sidelines usually a pretty good opportunity, but I think maybe Coach Bohr trying to get some possession up and then try to find a split on a through ball maybe. Anything he can do to try to get past this back line for the Eagles. Look like the Knights trying to clear that one out. A little bit of contact and an Eagle goes down, but ref allows play to continue. Now the Eagles bring the ball around to the other side of the field. A lot of space for some of the Eagles, but he's called for an offsides. I think the Knights not putting as much pressure on as they need to there. Really opened up a lot of space.
As we saw on Saturday, 45 minutes is definitely enough time for the Knights to put in 3 goals. The comeback is not impossible here.
Absolutely. They did have quite a big second half against Wesley last Saturday. They did come out with 6 goals for the game. So they do have the time and the talent that they need to do so. I think just as you mentioned, maybe a couple tactical changes, bring a few more players forward. Really just hold on to the ball a little bit better than they did in the first half, and it's well within a possibility. Merritt Weeks gets the ball back for the Knights. Makes a good turn there. both players slide in for the ball. Look like Weeks able to collide just a little bit with Connor McMurdy. McMurdy still down on the ground. Those are tough ones as a lot of shins just hit each other on that one. Ref has given a free kick to the Knights.
Looks like we'll see the long ball sent into the box again for the Knights.
I think this is the first big opportunity for the Knights of the second half, and they seem to be playing it a little bit passively. Ball's played short. You saw on the other side when Mary Washington had that opportunity, they took about 6 or 7 guys into the box and ran a simple crossing play, but very effective. So interesting that the Knights not trying to match it, really trying to work the ball in, but I think at some point you do have to start taking a few risks if you want to get a goal here. As they are down 3-0, it's time to start taking those risks. So I'm surprised we didn't see a little bit more pressure on that one. You saw about 5 players still in the defensive area for the Knights.
Now, it's hard to say as to why. It could be just that the Knights know how well the Eagles have been able to counterattack tonight. Been able to get a lot of shots on goal. Got 7 shots on goal. Most of those coming from counterattacks.
Ball cleared well downfield. The Eagles come out with it. Didi looked like he thought it was going out. Eagles able to come away with it and slide, bring it into the box, but a Knights defender is in the area, able to clear that one off of the goal line. What a brilliant save there. Elijah Mendoza able to clear that one off the line for the Knights with the play of the game for sure.
Yeah, it's a big play by Elijah Mendoza, just being disciplined and being in the right spot at the right time for the Knights. Like we had just been talking about, those counterattacks are so dangerous for the Eagles, and they broke through again. Fortunately for the Knights, it wasn't too costly.
Yeah, it looked like Didi and Flynn both beat in the area. Luckily, Mendoza stayed solid in the defense. Eagles come away with a free kick. Knights able to head that one away. Nathan Allen plays it over to Edwin Hernandez. Plays it upfield for Merritt Weeks. Tries to bring it back into the middle, where there's quite a few of the Eagles players. They're able to take that one away, and now the possession game will continue.
The long ball once again by the Eagles. The Knights able to get on the end of this one. The Eagles able to win back possession and play it back. Switching fields. The Eagles awarded a free kick. Not sure what for on that one.
Do elect to take it quickly, bring it down into the corner and crossed in. And an Eagle is in the area and is able to head that one into the goal on a great cross in. Looks like number 28, Jeremy Hokinson, with the header into the middle of the net. Like Colin Flynn able to trying to play the front post there. Made it all the way across to the middle, and he makes a great dive. Puts it in the back of the net for the Eagles, and now they take a 4-0 lead over the Knights.
As a defender, it can be so hard sometimes to stay in front of your man as they're making those attacking runs. You're not sure if the cross is going to come in, or if, like we've seen earlier, the winger decides to bring it in and take a shot on goal.
I believe it was Barry that crossed that one in. He has done incredibly well on the far side against the Knights. As you mentioned, it is so tough to try to man mark on that one. Looked like the Eagles had a couple players in the middle, one on the back post, one on the near post. Played down into the corner for Barry again as he elects to cross it in. Colin Flynn able to come up with that one, though. Almost the exact same play, though. Just take a quick free kick and play it into the corner.
Colin Flynn just boots that one out. Trying to get the Eagles out of the attacking third. And they're able to bring that down and regain possession.
I think that movement there by the defense, you can see the minute the goalie gets it, you can see the center back and the outside back just pull out to the wing, and then you can see a center defensive mid pull into the middle right behind the striker. It just opens up the entire field for play. And now you can see they just work the ball downfield with a couple of passes. They've earned a corner out of this one, but it's that disciplined formation, disciplined structure by the Eagles that really opens up the field for them. Takes all the pressure off, even though the ball's pretty deep down the field. There's really no immediate pressure on them. Now they're able to work it downfield and earn another corner, their 9th of the game. Ball's crossed in towards the middle of the goal. Knights looked like they got the first touch on it, and then it looked as though Jackson Farnsworth, in an effort to try to clear that one out, may have hit that one into his own net. Just not able to get the touch on that one that he wanted.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Sometimes the ball just doesn't fall how you think it's going to. And for Jackson Farnsworth, that's just an unlucky clearance.
That one, I think, will really take a lot of momentum away from the Knights. That's just so tough on the 5th goal. They really haven't played that poorly. That's just Mary Washington really taking advantage of their free kick and corner kick opportunities. Really, the Knights doing all the damage to themselves on that one.
As a coach, this is where you really hope that your players have the mental fortitude to stay strong and to continue to fight rather than just kind of turning over and letting the game get even uglier than it already is.
Yeah, absolutely. The last thing you want to see at this point is, any retaliation or over physicality. Obviously, both teams still heavily involved in trying to keep the game where it is, but you don't want to see any retaliation or, stupid plays from any of your players. That does show the character of a team. And so far, the Knights, although very physical, have avoided, cards and any disciplinary action for the most part.
The Eagles are able to so quickly move from the defensive line to the attack with just a couple of passes.
I think that's really what's been the difference for them tonight, is just the Knights haven't been able to just get back and keep the ball in front of them like they do against most teams. Mary Washington really just keeps a lot of players in the attacking third, usually about 4 or 5, then a pretty big gap in the middle, and then the defense is just able to connect with those 4 or 5 up top. And then 2 or 3 passes later, they're taking a shot on goal. Looks like we'll have some substitutions here for the Eagles. Long throwing downfield into the corner. Didi able to clear that one away. Hernandez trying to keep the ball for the Knights. A little miscommunication there, and it will be a throw in for the Eagles.
Number 25, Connor McMurdy.
A lot of Knights in the area trying to clear that ball out. Eagles like to switch field. Try playing into the opposite corner. Now, if you're the Eagles coach, on the other hand, you're definitely trying to bring on a few of the subs, trying to bring on a few of the players a little bit lower on the bench and see what they can bring to the field. it's difficult to try to get into the game. 32 minutes still remaining in the game, but trying to match the tempo right off the bench is a very difficult task, so you want to see if your players are up to it. Eagles have been awarded a free kick about 35 yards out. Ball's lofted into the middle. Colin Flynn able to come down brilliantly with that one. What a reach by Colin Flynn to come down and get his hands on that one.
Nice job by Colin Flynn coming out to grab that, because had he not, looked like the Knights defender was just a little bit out of position. That would have fallen well to the Eagles players.
Merritt Weeks bringing the ball up for the Knights. Plays it off of Connor McMurdy and earns a throw in. Now we'll have a couple of substitutions for the Knights as well. Looks like Ben Knapmeyer and Christian Rice both re-enter the game. Jackson Farnsworth coming off. Knapmeyer lets that pass get just a little bit away from him, and now the Eagles turn and bring the ball upfield with a lot of space ahead of them.
There's that counterattack we talked about. It's so dangerous. Good job by the Knights defense, staying disciplined, able to clear that one away.
And as you mentioned, and especially now that the Eagles have brought on quite a few substitutions, that counter can be a little more dangerous, as the Knights have been playing for about 60 minutes for the most part with the same general players, and now the Eagles subbed off and on quite a few of the players a little bit lower on the bench, and so I think they're all trying to prove something. A little bit more fresh legs, only been in a couple of minutes for some of them.
Long throw-in from the Eagles and a shot on goal. Sails wide and looks like over the net. A goal kick for the Knights. Colin Flynn playing the ball long. The Eagles able to get on the end of that one. The Knights regain possession.
Interesting substitution as well when Christian Rice entered the field. Earlier, he came on as a wing outside back and now is playing as a striker position. Coach Boer maybe trying to get a little bit more speed up in the top. As he's seen, it has worked for the Eagles quite well. Another cross comes into the middle, but he was in an offside position, it looks like, and the Knights will get a free kick. Another pretty good attacking opportunity there by the Eagles.
Good job by the Knights defender, just staying on the inside of his man, forcing him into an offsides position.
Really maybe the only tactic that the Knights have benefited from a whole ton against the attack so far. It's just allow them to make that run and then be offsides.
The Eagles have been called offsides a couple of times tonight already.
Looks like we'll have a goalie change for the Eagles. Number 33, Curran Smolinski, enters the game. Hasn't had too many minutes so far. Only 53 on the season. He's only entered one other game. Matt Spencer has been the go-to goalie for the Eagles. Now Smolinski coming on with about 27 minutes left in the game. 5-0 lead, fairly comfortable, so I think Smolinski probably not expecting that many opportunities. High kick downfield. will go out of bounds. Eagles have a throw in.
Like another throw in for the Eagles.
Natmeyer gets possession back for the Knights, trying to pull a couple of moves to get away from pressure, unable to do so. Now Jackson Lindau able to clear that one out momentarily. Christian Rice tries to bring the ball out of pressure. Now you can see the speed really coming in. Tried to get around his attacker there. Wasn't able to do so.
Yeah, the Knights just looking for any type of spark, hoping that Christian Rice will be able to beat a couple guys with his speed. Knights awarded a free kick. Greg Allen on the ball. Right into the feet of an Eagles defender.
Surprised the Knights haven't taken advantage of a few of those free kicks. They've had a few right around midfield, and for the most part have elected to just try to take the quick ball, maybe try to draw something up. We saw the Eagles have quite a few plays in the playbook. Not even complicated for the most part, just fairly simple. A couple of crossovers, stack the line on a corner kick now and then. Really has been quite successful for him. So Coach Boer, not that he hasn't drawn those up in the past, but I think the Knights players maybe taking some of these kicks just a little bit too quickly, trying to resume play, and maybe if they're drawing something up, it could put a little bit more pressure on Mary Washington. Now we'll have a free kick for the Knights. Looked like Christian Rice received a little bit of contact there. And now the Knights will have a pretty good free kick of their own. This is definitely an opportunity where you want to draw something up and not take this one quickly. This is a very good opportunity for him here. Looks like number 26, Jeremy Wilson, in on the play. Quite a few Knights on the back post. Plays that one low on the ground. Eagles able to clear that one away. Greg Allen with the ball for the Knights, takes a left-footed shot, and that will fall just wide of the post.
Looks like we'll have a substitution for the Knights. Number 20, Matthew Jones, sophomore from Keller, Texas.
Long kick downfield. Looks like Merritt Weeks able to come out with that one there. Eagles try to play the ball downfield, ends up hitting one of their own players. Now the Knights come away with possession. A lot of space for the Knights to move here. Trying to find some passes. Great move there. Looks like he's trying to find someone into the corner. May have thought Merritt Weeks was making that run. Now the Eagles come away with possession. You can see the minute they get the ball, they really just spread out all over the field. You can see 5 strikers up into the field, and you can see the midfielders replacing with the strikers, and that's what I think has made the man marking game so difficult for the back line. Is just the switching from the attacking mids and the strikers. So the Knights back line having a hard time keeping track of their man. It's like they may have an opportunity here. Bring the ball down into the corner. Christian Rice maybe just going for a little bit much on the jersey there. Is called for a foul, and the Eagles will take that.
The Knights able to get ahead on the free kick. Losing possession again in the middle of the field. Regaining it after a little bit of confusion.
Now the Eagles clearing it downfield, deep into the corner.
Looks like for the Knights, the problem has just been a little bit of communication. Not really sure what everybody on the field is trying to do or where they're trying to go. Because of that, keep losing possession of the ball.
Yeah, it seems like the mental game is just not quite there like it was against Wesley, as they just poured the goals on there and were able to find some great passes, some great through balls. Eagles, on the other hand, you can see 3 players making that exact same run off of one cross. That's the kind of communication the Knights need. You can see quite a few players in the area. There's 4 there. 3 made the run to the back post. Ball's just crossed in toward them. And the minute the Eagles get the ball back, 2 passes and they're back in the attacking third. Merritt Weeks called for the foul from behind. Will receive a warning from the referee, as he's been given quite a few of those fouls tonight. Tommy Mead with a lofted ball towards the back post. Colin Flynn able to get the first touch on it and then hits the ground hard. Ball not cleared out yet. Eagles still keeping pressure on the Knights, trying to clear it out. Eagles take a shot that sails well over the crossbar. Colin Flynn still on the ground for the Knights, though. Took a big hit there and hit the ground hard as he jumped up for that one. Might have gotten the wind knocked out of him.
And for the Knights, you really hope that that's all that it is. Looks like he's back up on his feet. It was a great sign for the Knights. Losing a leader like Colin Flynn would not be a good thing this far into the season. Or at any point, really.
Yeah, especially with 20 minutes left in the game. He definitely has been their number 1 goalkeeper and one of the defensive leaders. Even in the booth here, you can hear the communication from him telling his back line, shift left, shift right. You know, watch out for this guy over here, and really has just been kind of the director and anchor of the back line along with Matt Deedy. So that would be a big loss for the Knights. Eagles looking to put some pressure onto their own. They come into the cross here. Looks like it took a little bit of deflection off of Matt Deedy. Able to step in front of that one. Colin Flynn in the area as well.
Good job by Matt Deedy being able to recover on that. Saved what looks like would have been another goal for the Eagles.
Now they will have another corner, their 10th of the game. Very similar play to what we've seen on some of the other ones. Ball placed well over to the far post and headed on towards the near post. That one just not on target, though.
Ten corners in a game really wears on you mentally as a defense.
Especially when you've only had 2 of your own. The Knights, and especially earning one of theirs very early in the game. Great slide there. Great 1-2 pass by the Eagles, working the ball back upfield. Nathan Allen able to shield off player there. A lot of contact going on between those 2 players. And the Eagles will receive a free kick. Looks like Nathan Allen trying to plead his case on that one, but I think the ref may have a point with a lot of the contact going on. Merritt Weeks as well coming over to discuss with the referee what amount of contact will be allowed. And you can see on this play as well, Mary Washington still keeping quite a few players up. You can see about 2 players in the backfield for him, maybe 3 behind the 25-yard line on the football field. Aside from that, their entire team is in the box. You can see the crossover play. They run like usual. Then they're the first and second to get ahead on it. Ball being bounced around. So far, nobody able to clear that one out. Get another shot, and it looks like it hits the crossbar for the field goal posts.
Another scary moment for the Knights. That ball's just bouncing around for a good 5-6 seconds. Nobody really able to get a foot on that and get that one cleared out.
Yeah, coming from my time as a center back, the minute that ball hits the ground, you just blast that as far as you can. You don't want that taking any hops off the turf, because anyone gets just a toe on it, it's hitting someone's shins, it's hitting someone's foot, and it can end up wherever. So anytime that gets anywhere near you, you're doing anything you can to try to get that out of the box.
Especially that close. There's not a lot of time for reaction from Colin Flynn. Kind of like we saw earlier with one of their goals coming off a free kick.
Flynn coming out for that one and able to punch that one over the end line. We'll have the 11th corner of the game for the Eagles.
Flynn doing a great job tonight of coming off his line and playing as almost a sweeper for that defensive line. So many balls have been played through the middle, and a lot of high crosses that he's had to come out for. He's been flying around his box.
Ball comes in towards the near post. Looks like the ball did go out before Flynn was able to get his hands on it, and it will be a goal kick for the Knights. Eagles continue to make more substitutions onto the field.
It'll be number 34, Ryan Foley.
And I believe number 12, Ethan Green, as well entering. I think at this point the Eagles have pretty much subbed off almost their entire starting lineup. Ethan Green, this is his first entrance into a college match, I believe, this year. He's a sophomore. Eagles will earn another free kick. It's just been the story of the evening. The Knights, a very physical team, definitely conceding more free kicks than they would have liked to tonight, particularly on the corners.
A lot of set pieces by the Eagles. That one taken right into the wall. Cleared away easily by the Knights. Another foul by Nathan Allen.
Doesn't seem to be too happy about that one either. I think the ref has a pretty good case. There's plenty of contact there for a foul. Ball crossed into the box. Dede the first to get ahead on it.
And the Knights will be awarded a free kick in their own defensive third.
He likes to take that long downfield. A little bit too long, ends up in the hands of the goalkeeper. Smolinski getting some action after all.
The Eagles switching fields as they've done all game.
Massaquoi steals the ball back for the Knights. And the Eagles retain possession and switch the ball back across the field, as they've done so often. Ball comes over the top down into the corner. Looks like he's trying to chip Colin Flynn there. Plays it just a little bit too hard, and it will sail over the crossbar. Be a goal kick.
Another substitution with the goalkeeper. Looks like number 31, Tom Skier, out of Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Skier with even less time than Smolinski this year. Only 23 minutes in goal for the Eagles. Seems like Coach Kilby definitely trying to get everybody involved. Skier will now get about 13 minutes more for his season. About 36 minutes on the season.
That is assuming that we don't see the other goalkeeper, Kenny Kurtz,
who has even less time, about 13 minutes total on the season. So interesting, you don't see two goalkeeper substitutions that often. But with a 5-0 lead, I guess coach electing to just bring on anybody he'd like.
Luxury of being a coach, I guess.
Yeah, Coach Kilby, a very experienced coach, definitely knows what it takes to win. His career record is absolutely astounding. 185 wins, 83-22 in his career with 7 seasons at University of Mary Washington. So definitely knows how to win. His winning percentage is very high and clearly knows his players well, as he has taken advantage of their strengths in almost every regard. It has been fairly consistent squad we've seen tonight as far as what they're doing on set pieces, and as far as tactics in the game as well. You can see exactly what they do on the practice field carrying over to the actual game as they earn yet another corner kick. Just the story of the night, their 12th of the game so far with 10 minutes left.
Broadcasting now in black and white.
Now entered the 1930s in a film noir set. Briefly there on the corner kick. Eagles continue to mount pressure against the Knights' back line. Great move down to the end line, crossed into the center. A couple of Knights in the area trying to clear that one away. Couple of pleas from some of the Eagles, and now the ref electing to bring the ball back and will award a PK. A penalty kick awarded to the Eagles. Difficult to say exactly what happened on that one. A few players in the area, a couple players on the ground, but the ref electing to allow play to continue and then bringing the ball back after advantage was lost. That is a very late call there.
It looked like a signal from the AR is what triggered the ref to call that one. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but I did see the flag go up.
It's like Nick Jackson stepping up to take the penalty kick.
An interesting call with this, with the game in the state that it is.
He puts that one on the far post, and Mary Washington will take a 6-0 lead. Interesting decision by the referee on that one. A little bit tough to see. Maybe a little bit of frustration by some of the Knights players. See a couple more substitutions come onto the field after that goal. It's like number 2, Cody Wheeler, freshman from Staunton, Virginia, and number 4, Aaron Terrazas will re-enter the game.
Throwing for the Eagles. They like to keep the ball on the sideline. Nice through ball up top. Colin Flynn again coming out of his box way out. Able to scoop that one up for the Knights. Good job by Colin Flynn.
Maybe a little bit fortunate to come out with that one. Seems like the Eagles player jumped in expecting the ball to end up somewhere else. Luckily, Colin Flynn able to turn, just find that one. come down with it. And now the Eagles still with possession of the ball, trying to switch fields here.
Again with that wide play like we've seen all night. A nice move from the Eagles attacker, cleared away by the Knights.
Now the Knights slowly expanding out. This is a good sign for them moving forward. They definitely, the style of play that they favor is that possession game. They really try to work the ball through the middle. So far, they've largely been unable to do that tonight. I think some of the pressure from the Eagles has kept them off their form that they would have liked to see. I think they got caught up in it's a pretty classic mental game of, you know, if they bring up 3 strikers, you feel like you have to have 3 or 4 defenders back, and so I think it has cut into their attack just a little bit. Sometimes that mental game does get you caught up, and you really want to man mark, but sometimes it's okay to be outnumbered as long as the ball's down in the attacking third, even if the ball's in the defensive third, as long as you can mark well. I think the Knights initially did get caught up in that a little bit, and Eagles made them pay for it early.
As a defender, it's hard to tell sometimes. Like you said, sometimes it's worth it to be outnumbered if you're able to push up in the attack. So as many as they have attackers and you have defenders, there's still only one ball, and as long as you're able to mark up, sometimes the attack is a little bit more important.
Yeah, and I think early in the game, as you mentioned, you know, it's okay to be outnumbered, especially when you do have some of the defensive players like they do. Christian Rice out on the wing does a really good job. Matt Deedy, also an excellent man marker. You've seen Greg Allen, Merritt Weeks both shift into the defensive line at some points. Very physical players, very good at man marking as well. So it's not that the Knights are lacking defensive talent. I think they were just unable to work as a unit well tonight, and maybe played a little bit too cautious too early, recognizing Mary Washington, a very well-established team, very good team in conference as well so far, without a loss in conference, but they do have loss on the year, so maybe coming out just a little bit tentative. And that has gone against the Knights in some of their previous games as well. They do have quite a few underclassmen, definitely a building year for some of the Knights players, so I think maybe just come out with a little more passion, and we may see a very different result from this game. You can see already the Eagles, even though the Knights just working the ball upfield, about 5 players in the attack for them already. So as you see the possession change hands here, they already have 5 players in their attacking third, and that is what makes those counter attacks so effective that they've had all night, really.
As an experienced center back, Sam, do you think that just the fear of the counterattacks is what's kind of forced the Knights to stay deep?
You know, I definitely think it has been, but I don't think it should have been, because for the most part the counters were coming from the edges. And so you know that they're looking for a cross into the center, and so you can kind of allow them to do that. You know, obviously it seems like you don't want to give up the ball that deep into the corner, but at the same time it can be okay. Eagles with another great passing series here, and that ball ends up in the back of the net for their 7th goal of the night. Just a few quick passes after a change of possession, and once again they're able to beat that back line for the Knights. About 5:25 remaining in the game. They take a 7-0 lead over the Southern Virginia Knights. And now the last thing you want to see is these heads start to drop for the Knights. You have to keep the momentum in, keep the mental game for them here. Obviously, it's not the result that they're looking for. Everyone knows that. Everyone's out here to compete and wants to win, but you got to stay in the last 5 minutes of this game. You can't see heads start to drop like that. If you're Coach Bohr, I'm addressing that right after the game. It doesn't matter what the scoreboard says. You know, you play.
Absolutely, especially with a lot of these players being so young. You got to realize that you're fighting for a spot for the next couple of years. This game doesn't determine the rest of the time at Southern Virginia University for you.
No, absolutely. This is 90 minutes. They've still got games after this. They've still got conference play. Next 2 games are at home for them. It's good to see him come out after that goal. You saw quite a few players on the back post. Would they have been able to get across there? Might have had something dangerous. So pass did go just a little bit too far off the end line. Gave a goal kick to the Eagles. But as you said, there's still a lot of season left. There's still a lot of playing time. You're still competing for a lot of things. And even in some of the previous games when we've seen the Knights come out in an unfavorable position, they usually come back and put one in the back of the net. They do have quite a few players that can score, so even at this late point in the game, goals are still there to be had. The Eagles coming away with one a couple of minutes ago. The Knights just need to put forth the effort and they can see their own results. Good physical play there by the Knights. A very tactical play. Good ball downfield.
So that one's going to be hit out for an Eagles throw-in. Just under 4 minutes left to play. The Eagles switch fields once again. Eagles unable to maintain possession. That's going to roll out for a Knights throw. Eagles finding space once again down that right sideline. It's been such an open attacking opportunity for them all night long.
Big collision in the middle of the field. Merritt Weeks continuing to demonstrate his physicality. Ref electing to allow play to continue as the Eagles mount a pretty good attack of their own, bring the ball into the middle of the field. A few good passes. Ball's played into the corner again, looking for a cross in the middle, puts it on frame. Colin Flynn parries that one away. Eagles get another shot that deflects off of Matt Deedy, and they will get their 13th corner of the game with just under 2 minutes remaining. Sure, we'll see the same play that we've seen, well, about 13 times previous to this as well. They stack 5 or 6 players right on the goal line. Ball comes in near post or far post, about 6 yards out, and they just try to flick it on towards the goal. Has been so effective for him tonight, though. Left-footed curler comes in. Nobody able to get a touch on that one. Quite a few players in the area. Nobody able to hit that one. It goes off the end line. And the ref has seen that one of the Knights was able to get a touch on that one, and it will be the 14th corner of the game for the Eagles. Ball comes in, and it will be behind the goal. Knights will get a goal kick now. Now, if you're the Knights looking forward, their next 2 games as well are at home as they have entered conference play. St. Mary's will be this Saturday at 5 o'clock, followed by Marymount Wednesday the 18th at 7 p.m. And then their last 2 conference games will be on the road at York and at Frostburg State on Saturday the 21st and Wednesday the 25th. So there's still plenty of play to look forward to if you're the Knights.
Absolutely, and it's very important for them to keep their heads up and try and get something going the rest of this conference play.
Yeah, they already have 1 win in conference against Wesley this last Saturday, so as the time falls off the clock here, I think the best thing about this game so far for the Knights is that they can just learn from it. It's over. they have plenty of things that they did all right, plenty of things that they can look forward to, and I think, you know, they can look at the film if they want to, or just throw it away. I mean, there's certain things that, you know, if you're the coach, you recognize tonight just wasn't your night. 7-0, obviously not the result they're looking for, but against a Mary Washington team, very talented, and I think had a good counter to the Knights' strategy of possession. Obviously, a quick counters all game are very difficult to try to maintain. Mary Washington with some very fast players, very physical, very good on the sidelines as well. So Mary Washington able to counter the Knights' attack and defense pretty well this evening, come away with a 7-0 win. But as we mentioned, the Knights do continue their at-home play in conference this Saturday, the 14th. They will take on St. Mary's at 5 o'clock. And then Wednesday, October 18th, Marymount at 7 p.m. So, Jackson, what do you think the Knights have looking forward, even though this isn't the result that they're wanting? What do you think they have to build on? What do you think they did well tonight?
Well, there's a couple things to, I guess, definitely take into account. The Knights did a pretty good job of trying to maintain possession. We didn't see the Knights completely just roll over, which I think is a good thing. They showed some heart. I'm looking forward to these next two home games. They're both definitely very winnable. And two very important games for the Knights here in the conference play.
I think you're absolutely right. Really, it has been, you know, a lot of heart for the Knights. I think they just came out a little bit flat, and it just continued too long for them in the game. You can't come out and just get scored on and then get scored on that quickly. It definitely accounts for the rest of the 90 minutes. They were able to bring on quite a few other players that were able to keep the tempo. They didn't get away from their playing style. As you mentioned, sometimes teams will fall down and then just elect to kind of just play kickball and do whatever they like. But you saw anytime they got possession, they definitely tried to bring it out. Mary Washington definitely coming away with the better end of that tonight, though, as they were able to basically dictate the terms of the game. But as we mentioned, next Saturday, the 14th, they will be taking on St. Mary's, and then Wednesday, the 18th, at Marymount. For those at home, we'd like to thank you for watching tonight. Myself, Sam, Jackson Hatch, and the rest of the broadcasting crew, thanks for watching the men's soccer game tonight. And as always, go Knights.